Halloween is the one time of year you can be something you're not, embrace every macabre tendency in your lizard brain, and endow yourself in the fall's newly short days, misty nights, and chilling breezes out in the inherent spookiness in all of us. So how do you hollow the eve? As a vampire, werewolf, a witch? Who's your spooky muse? Today, I'm going to go over a handful of mine, with the stipulation that I can only pick one of each monster type, so to speak. So you're about to meet my favorite vampire, Frankenstein, mummy, so on and so forth. And who better to start with than the humble but nonetheless creepy zombie?
Zombie boy, pass me the transcript of the meeting. Brains. Yeah, let's see now. Brains. What? This thing just says the word brains over and over again.
Zombie wasn't an easy pick, since it's pretty rare that a zombie is singled out and distinguished as a character per se. The horrid nature of the zombie species lends itself well to commentary, be it stories about viruses, climate change, or no, my champion zombie will not be an allegory for smartphones from some boomer comic, no sir. There are some pretty flashy subversions of zombies I love, but I want my picks for these to embody what's iconic about each monster in the first place, which is why I think the best choice is DC's Solomon Grundy. Grundy is a pretty straightforward powerhouse bad guy, one whose sheer brawn and staying power has muddled the notion as to if he's a villain of Superman, Batman, or Green Lantern. He may be dumb muscle, but he fulfills that role better than the highest percentile of costumed supergoons, largely thanks to how his immortality makes it very easy to justify his consistence and malleability. We even see the potential sympathy innate in a zombie played up in the DC animated universe, where there are a handful of episodes focused on his crisis of mortality, and it's these episodes I hold to be some of the best. I don't think anyone else has put Solomon Grundy on a pedestal to be star of some of the best episodes of the best DC adaptions since then. This walking corpse may have been born on a Monday, but he was made to celebrate Halloween night.
Solomon Grundy want pants too!
Hi.
Could I come in?
No?
Picking my favorite vampire was tough too, because they might be the Halloween monster with the most characters devoted to their monstrous kind, and only most of them are named Dracula or Alucard. None of that is for poor reason. Vampires strike this perfect line between the refined and reviled, in a way no other monsters covered in this video really can. It's pretty easy to see how the number of movies, games, shows, and books about vampires dwarfs the likes of every other monster, rivaled only perhaps by zombies. The point is, the sheer number made this a tough call, so I think I'll just rip the band-aid off and give it to Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Dio is indeed a literal vampire, but only a small portion of the series actually sees him drinking blood and bearing fangs. His vampirism never goes away, per se. It just takes a narrative backseat as his time-stopping stand the world becomes his bread and butter. And yet, I don't think anyone ever forgets Dio's a vampire either, and that's because no matter how much his methods change, his charisma and influence stay distinctly vampiric. The way he rallies followers as if by hypnotism, the way he utilizes parasites and shadows to force his foes into an unwinnable situation, it's all distinctly Dio, whether he's actively a vampire at the moment or not. He can force a dude to start driving a car he's barged into, not thanks to any hypnotic influence, but with his sheer power of natural suggestion and how easy he is to follow. Whether a truly parasitic monster, a stan user, or a horse jockey, as long as blood runs through his wicked veins, Dio will always be sinking his fangs into any goodwill he can take advantage of.
So what are you gonna do when you rotate back to the world, Frankenstein?
Shit. Frankenstein monsters may be my favorite variation of Halloween creatures. I'm drawn to any character that's a brick shithouse with a secret sensitive side because that's me. So the sometimes sobby stories of Frankenstein hodgepodges really appeal to me. They're all about brute force with an electric flair from time to time, but just as much a soft core you can appeal to, and none more so than General Mills' Frankenberry. Yes, I'm serious.
Oh, what a beautiful day for Frankenberry, the world's super sweet new cereal.
Look, Fall is pretty much the only time of year I even eat cereal. It's because the monster cereals come out in full force, that magenta giant being my favorite. I love taking something conventionally tough and splashing it with pink, so Frankenberry is very much my aesthetic, and as someone who could put on retro TV commercials for hours on end to unwind to, I had to have some creature of consumerism on here. I think I'll go pour myself a bowl right now. The rest of the video can wait.
How about a monster for breakfast today?
What are you werewolves up to?
We're not werewolves.
We're why wolves.
The goodest boy of all the monsters, the werewolf is an invaluable asset for a sheer ferality that can counteract a vampire's class or a Frankenstein's potential for sympathy. Once the transformation is complete, a wolf is a wolf, and the keen essential lycanthrope in my mind is none other than Killer Instinct's Baron von Saberwolf. I think it's the classic Killer Instinct art style that has always made Saberwolf stick out to me. He's got a real Wolverine bod with that short stature and huge shoulders, complemented by his long claws and yellow eyes that altogether succeed in separating him from humanity. I'm not crazy about the Killer Instinct remake's approach to really any of the major characters, but they have a good thing going with the detail they put into Saberwolf's movements and idiosyncrasies to play up how thoroughly his illness has put him through the ringer. Whether he's summoning bats or howling like Duran Duran, this is the top dog I always think of when it comes to werewolves.
Fortunately for the waitstaff, our two most off-sided ghosts reside here in the dining room.
Any of these little fuckers ever pop out of the fucking wall and say, fuck, there's a horse cock in my room or a donkey dick?
Ghosts are another broad one, a creature locked within its own past tense mortality. Some act as a cautionary tale, while others live out endless existence as merry pranksters. Perhaps some find the only catharsis they can in spreading the horror of their own existence they endure every day, or maybe it's just a chance to do what you never could while condemned to your flesh sack. This was another category with stiff competition. I decided to go with a less conventional choice in the form of the shadow Pokemon Gengar. Gengar's simplicity has lent itself to really persist over the years, one of the original 150 Pokemon in the only ghost-type family of the bunch. It's relevant to this day with new forms and focus every now and then. No small part of that surely is how Gengar and its pre-evolutions were so interestingly implemented in the Pokemon anime, where their status as the only ghost types at the time lent itself really well to stories that broke the canon of Pokemon and created a distinctly dark atmosphere on a level you just wouldn't quite see today. The grim, grinning ghost greets gamers garishly with great gumption, and I applaud his long-lived prominence.
Cindy! This is a skeleton! This is bones!
Skeletons! Skeletons are silly as all get out, but come on, how could I not do skeletons? We all have one. If I felt particularly good about myself today, I could say I am my favorite skeleton. There's so much goofy charm to skeletons, but you know what's not goofy? Going to hell.
I would pray now. A lot.
Do I even need to explain why I picked Ghost Rider? He's a stuntman named Johnny Blaze who made a deal with Satan to become a professional demon wrangler. He can hurt you with your own sin. His favorite weapon is that time you pirated Flip the Time Detective. Ghost Rider is the tightest shit ever. Hell hath no fury, like a flaming skull on a motorcycle.
Return the slab.
Mummies were surprisingly slim pickings. There are plenty of mummy movies and such, but it's rare that they're made into distinct characters that's easy to discuss quite on this level. There's some cool mummies out there, but the only option I can really hover toward is kind of a stretch, and it's Pharaoh Atem from Yu-Gi-Oh! Indeed, he's not wrapped in bandages, but he's dead, and probably one of the most unique shonen protagonists out there, a character rooted in Egyptian culture and the paraphernalia surrounding charms, games, and mythological beasts, all wrapped up in the most insane anime hair of all time. I kinda love the notion that if a long-dead pharaoh were given another chance today, he'd still just be dripping all over his peers and just flexing how good he is at card games. Who needs the spoils of the afterlife when you have Egyptian god cards?
A girl answered a math problem. You know what that means.
I decided to end this video on the note of witches because I feel the common media depiction of a lady who just dabbles in witchcraft and really wants to party down is so very Halloween. The Salem witch trials and the like painted an image of the likes of a mischief maker largely misunderstood. And of course Halloween is the one night they can come out and party. It's the whole meaning of the season. A night where a misfit can feel like something else just by leaning into that very quality. Witches can be the delightful auntie of the Halloween monsters just as soon as they'd cook you in their cauldron. But no matter what, they're the easiest spooky creature to imagine partying with, and with that in mind, there's only one choice to be the champion witch.
It seems I'm unfashionably late.
Bayonetta embodies every bit of the witchy appeal I just mentioned, a satanic chimera of unholy union who flirts with demons and eats angels for breakfast. All she really wants is a spot of dancing and shopping. If you don't burn Bayonetta at the stake, she might even let you try her completely bananas arsenal, one of my personal favorites in any action game. There are scarier and more macabre characters in this video, but if I had to entrust only one to throw a kickin' Halloween party, it'd be Bayonetta. And I hope you find Halloween Celebration that's even half as fun as we venture into the rest of fall together. Thanks for watching, and spooky holidays.